Right, although this is a Formula One channel set up to expose the true level of the corruption within that sport, I actually prefer football and I actually prefer many other sports well ahead of Formula One. I used to play football. Football's a sport that we can all play. All you need is a pair of trainers and a ball. To get involved in football, Daddy doesn't need to be a billionaire. So, I think quite a lot of people like football. Being English, I want my home nation to do well. But this guy has got to go. This guy that's the manager of the England team has to be sacked now. Right now, today. Okay? It happened in the African Cup of Nations where they sacked their manager. Can't remember which team it was, but they sacked their manager mid tournament. And that team went on and did all right. I think they got to the final. They may have won it. I can't remember exactly. But they looked at what was going on and they said, well, this is clearly not good enough. The England team, if you look at the England players, we have got players that play for some of the top club sides in world football. So they are clearly good enough. We can't have this argument of oh, they're good players, but they can't play together. Other countries manage it. If you're a good player, it doesn't matter that you play with the same guys every day in training. Okay, if you're good enough, football's the same. Having the ability to control the ball, look up, see a pass, know what's going on around you. If you're good enough at that sort of level, you can play with any group of players as long as they're your equivalents. Okay, England have good enough talent to do well enough. Okay, I'm not saying that they're the best talent. I still think the likes of Spain are still technically better than us. I still think there's individually some better players in other countries. Germany are looking half decent. Portugal won't be too bad. The Dutch look pretty decent. France, very always a threat. Belgium have got a lot of talent. But there's no really outstanding teams like we've seen in the past, like the French team in the past, like the Brazilian team that we've seen in the past, like the Spanish team in the past. Um, this is the sorts of this man has been lucky. Gareth Southgate has been lucky. Okay, he has been. He's got this aura and this reputation about doing well in tournaments. England have been lucky in tournaments because they've come up against opposition in tournaments who are bang average at best. Okay, other teams that are poor. Let's be clear about that. England haven't been great. It's just the opposition they've come up against are poor. And even at the times where they've lost out in tournaments, I said this at the time, and I'll say it again, and I'll say it again. And I'm hoping I'm proven wrong, but I don't think I will be because there's nothing that I can see that even looks like England are a threatening team. Okay? You look at every aspect of the way England set up to play, it's terrible. Okay, it is absolutely awful. There's nothing about it that gives you any kind of confidence that we are going to put the other team under pressure and to be a threatening presence on that pitch. We waste so much of the game just passing backwards, passing sideways, slow playing it. We've got players that are supposed to be playing in what is marketed as the best league in the world now. Again, that's a marketing ploy. But it's certainly one of the more intense leagues in the world in terms of the pace of play. So, why, when we come up against other players who perhaps aren't used to playing with quite that level of intensity, do we slow play? Why don't we use the game that we are used to playing, that them players play week in, week out, okay? High intensity football. Oh, we'll play it international level and we'll slow it right down. And all we'll do is pass it to you, back to you, back to you, back to the keeper who's standing 10 yards outside of his box. Makes me shit myself every time the ball goes to him because I've got no confidence in the ability of these players. Oh, sideways again, up to the halfway line, back again, back again, back again, sideways. Nothing. We're offering nothing. You're 1-0 behind. You've got a half of 45 minutes. How many times did we actually look like creating chances on goal? What urgency did we play with? What urgency did we play with for 45 minutes? There's nothing coming from this guy. Absolutely nothing. The amount of times you go 1-0 up and Southgate, oh, we'll sit back now. We saw that in extra time. We score a goal at the start of extra time. And then what? Then we'll sit back and we'll defend that. And okay, we manage that. But what do you see then happen? You see the opposition come at you. England then sit back and they're playing the game in our final third. They play the game in our final third. It gives them chances. Okay, you remove your threat on them. They're then comfortable. You invite them onto you. And it's not as though we're hitting them on the counter. You don't see the best teams in the world playing like that. Pep Guardiola is probably the best manager in world football. Jurgen Klopp is another superb manager. They do not set their teams up to win a game of football 1-0 because they know that a 1-0 margin is not enough. All it takes is a lucky goal in return and then you're on the back foot. The other team that's equalised, they're in the ascendancy. Okay, it's then more difficult to raise your game to then come back and take the lead again because the other team is buoyed by the fact that they've equalised. The momentum is with them and it makes life difficult. What do England do? England will slow play, will slow play, will slow play, will slow play. Oh, we've nicked a goal. Now we'll sit back here. Now we'll sit back here. This is with players like Jude Bellingham, Foden, Saka. Oh yeah, we'll just sit back here. We'll just sit back here. That's fine. You've got to go, Southgate. You are just not good enough. You're devoid of ideas. You are an absolutely atrocious manager. There is not a single club football side that would look at your style of management and think, oh yeah, he'll turn us into a winning side. Not a single club. And if they do, they don't know a fucking thing about football. Okay? Anybody that knows anything about football looks at the way that England set up and think, well, that's not really a problem, is it? What are they actually doing? What is it that they're trying to do? What is their style of play? Can we identify that? How do they set up to press? When they get the ball, what are they looking to do? Nobody knows. Because Gareth doesn't know. He doesn't know. Okay, and that's coming through with them players on the pitch. Them players need to be bold enough to say, you know what? This guy clearly doesn't know what he's doing. We play better football than this week in, week out at our clubs when we're under a better manager. So let's get together and let's work out how we're going to play this because this guy's clueless. What we need to do is sack this guy right now because he's ruining any chance whatsoever of England actually achieving something at international level football. Something I'd love to see happen. But this guy is absolutely useless and he's devoid of ideas. And he's always been like that. Now we've had the country, they all get behind it. Oh, it's coming home. No, it's not. Okay, and the reason it's not, and I've said this every tournament under Southgate, is that we look like playing shit football. And that type of football doesn't look like it's going to win. And of course, yes, you can get lucky. We got lucky today. Superb finish by Bellingham in the 95th minute. You had a whole half of that second half, right? We didn't even barely. I mean, obviously the disallowed goal where Foden was offside. I called it immediately. That's offside, and then off he runs celebrating. No, it's offside. Called it immediately. That was clear to see. That was an offside goal. We had the Kane header, which normally you'd expect him to put it on target. Other than that, what did we see of England in 45 minutes of football? What did we see? Nothing. They didn't offer anything. They were too busy passing backwards and sideways and to the goalkeeper and passing backwards and sideways and to the goalkeeper and passing backwards. Why? Do you ever see that sort of football in the Premier League? No. And why? Because you're not going to win that many games by playing like that. And the point of playing football is to win a game of football. How do you do that? Well, you've got to attack the opposition. You've got to run them ragged. Okay, if you just want to slow play it, all you do is you let them sit with two banks of four or two banks of five, and they will have a structure that they can defend. Okay, and they're just going to sit there and go, yeah, carry on. You carry on just passing the ball across the pitch and back to your keeper. And when you actually mess it up, we'll just nip in there and nick it off you. But you're not running at us, are you? So we're not that scared. But the moment you start running at them with pace, okay, mixing it up, insist, I can't even say the right word, incisive football, intricate passes through the midfield like the Spanish do when they used to carve teams apart. Like the French did when they played with their flair. Like what some of the German stuff that you saw last night. We've got players that should be capable of doing that. And we're not. Because this man's telling them to go, oh no, play it slow, play it slow, play it slow. Round the back to Pickford, play it slow, play it slow. What's the point of that? The other team's just going to go, yeah, you can do that all day long. That's not a threat to us. It's not a threat to us. And if we do go 1-0 up, then everybody sit back and just let them come on to us. Let them have 90% of the possession. No, don't. Get hold of the ball again. Go at them again. Go 2-0 up. Go 3-0 up. Because that's what Manchester City do. That's what Liverpool do. Why do they do that? Because they know the game isn't done at 1-0. Your best form of defence is attack. That scares the opposition. You run them ragged. Then, if you keep attacking them, if you keep running them ragged in the last 20 minutes of the game, when they're knackered because you've run them ragged and then you bring on your pacey substitutes, you have a chance of making further inroads. Taking advantage of the fact that you've run them defenders ragged, they're now hanging, right? And you're now bringing on your pace. Instead, what do? We don't make them defenders work the whole game. They can just stand there. Yeah, not a problem. You know, we got Italy in the final where we lost the final, went 1-0 up. Oh, we'll sit back, we'll let Italy play now. You got 36-year-old defenders playing on cruise control. Because why? Because we didn't attack them with our pace. Yeah, we can do this all day long. That's this man. That's this man. It's not good enough. So, the way that England have to do this is they have to sack this man. Jurgen Klopp, bring him in. 3 games, that's all you've got, mate. Win us a trophy, and you'll forever be a legend of English football. It's not going to happen because, for whatever reason, the English FA were going to keep faith with somebody who is devoid of ideas. Anybody that knows anything about football, you just can't identify a style of play. You can't look at the English team and say, yeah, they look really, they look like they play good football. They look What all you're doing is you're looking at the individuals and saying, yeah, they should be a good side. They should be dangerous. But actually, when you watch our style of play, you don't see any of that. You see nothing. And that comes from the top down. That comes from the way that they're set up, the way that they must train, this crap. Because you don't see these players doing that for their clubs. So why do they come to international level and think, oh, now we've got to do it this way? This man, he's the man responsible. He's got to go. He has got to go. And there's no point in sacking him after he's lost. We're out of the tournament then. The chance is gone. Okay, we want to win the next game. Do we look like we're going to win the next game of football? Do England look like they're going to beat Switzerland? Well, I hope we do. Of course, I hope we do. But do we play this type of football that gives you the confidence that we're capable of winning that game? And I would say absolutely not. Do we have the kind of players that could compete with Switzerland and possibly overcome them? Yeah, we do. Switzerland, a pretty good side. Okay, so I'm not going to say we're better than Switzerland, but we should be competing. And in a game of sport, if you're competing, it gives yourself a chance of winning. But do we, on the performances that we put out, do we look like we are capable of performing in a manner that is going to challenge Switzerland? And the answer is simply no. Why is that? This man. So there's your problem. If you can't identify the problem, then that's your problem. Get rid of him. Get somebody in that can actually make this set of footballers play football. Play the sort of football that they play for their clubs week in, week out. The type of football that's going to take the game to the opposition, to actually put them under pressure, run them ragged, create chances, scare them. Make the other team want to come off that pitch thinking, we've been in a game here. Right, that team was tough because we were constantly under pressure from them. Because England are not even making it difficult for the opposition. Not even making it difficult. The pressing is poor. What we're doing in attack is poor. The intensity is poor. It's easy for the opposition. And it's all down to this man. He's clueless. His substitutions are ridiculous. Everything is just wrong. Right? Get him gone. Get somebody else in. Do it now. So to the English FA, sack him and get in somebody that can actually get these players playing proper football, the sort of football that's going to win tournaments. Because that is what we want to see from our international team. I don't mind if we don't win. In fact, I'm used to us not winning. All I want to be able to see is a side at least looking like it's trying to win and playing a style of football whereby you're giving yourself the best chance. Because what we're seeing is demoralising. We're watching something that just looks destined to fail because it's offering nothing. Sort that out. At least give us something that we can be proud of. At least they're giving it everything, and at least they are taking the game to the opposition. At least they're giving themselves the chance, looking like they're threatening. And if another team overcomes us, fair play. But just don't go out with a whimper. Don't go out playing crap football, devoid of ideas, not just looking like you've got no clue about what it is you're doing. The players that we've got, we should be a team that other teams are fearful of. And they're not. With good reason. Why would you be scared of an England team playing the way that we've seen England play in these 4 games and that we've seen them play at every other tournament? As soon as they come up against a team that's half decent, we're out of the competition. World Cup, was it 2018? Came up against Croatia. Went 1-0 up. Oh, we'll sit back here now. We'll give the ball to you, Luka Modric. Who they've got? Modric, who's world class. Rakitic and Perisic. Okay, couple of decent players. And then what? We went 1-0 up. We'll just sit back here, give the ball to Modric and let you boss the game and tear us apart. Great idea there, Southgate. Let's go in search of a second, put the game to bed. No, doesn't work, does it? That's why Guardiola doesn't just go for 1-0s. That's why Klopp doesn't just go for 1-0s. Same against Italy. Oh, we've gone 1-0 up. Let's just sit back here and let's see if we can defend it for the rest of the game. No, doesn't work, does it? You'd think you'd learn by now, Gareth. You'd think you'd learn. But clearly, there's fuck all between the ears. Clearly. Anyway, that'll do for this one. See you in a bit.